Reporting from JerusalemForEndTimes.com, this is Brian Trauger. As we approach the end of 2025, there is a rapidly closing window that, in all likelihood, enables you to bless Israel, support Tipping Point, and lower your income taxes for the calendar year. To explain, today we meet up with Jimmy Evans. You might know him. And with Jonathan Miller. Jonathan is the Chief Financial Officer of AFMDA, American Friends of Magen David Adom. Magen David Adom, which means Red Star of David, is Israel's singular ambulance service for the entire Jewish state. And as you have seen in emails from Tipping Point, we are raising money for MDA. Why should you give to this critically important, life-saving work in the world's only Jewish state? And what are the benefits of doing so before midnight tomorrow on New Year's Eve? Join me as we take a few minutes to discuss these things with Jimmy Evans and Jonathan Miller. And I'm glad we're getting together to talk because we have an opportunity for our donors, our members, to give and bless Israel, bless Tipping Point, and bless themselves, potentially. Many of them, if they give before midnight on New Year's Eve, they get a tax benefit from doing so. So there's an opportunity for a triple blessing here, Israel, Tipping Point, and for individuals who give if they do it before midnight tomorrow night. So in order to give to the project, they just need to go to the website. Is that correct?
endtimes.com and just push donate. There, they can give that way. If you want to give another way, like by check, or if you plan on giving, through bank draft or something, you can email Ketsia, Ketsia at endtimes.com, or Kimi, KIMI at endtimes.com, and just tell them what you're planning on doing, and we'll add that to the total. Now, and then we'll wait on the gift, obviously, but right now we're at $405,000. The first goal that we set was for $500,000. We've gotten quite a bit of giving that's come in the last few days. And so, if you're wanting to give, we're the $500,000 level that we're going to buy an ambulance for Magen David Adom, which is awesome. We're going to train 2 paramedics, and that's incredible also, and buy medical equipment for them. And so depending on how much we get between now and midnight, New Year's Eve, between how much we give between now and then, that's how much we'll have to do all of that with. And so, again, we're within striking distance of it, $405,000. So if you want to give, again, just go to endtimes.com. There's a donate button there. Everything you give, half of it goes to Tipping Point, half goes to Magen David Adom to buy the ambulances, to train the paramedics, and to buy medical supplies. And so, and if we go above 500,000, we'll give half of all of that to Magen David Adom. And so if you've been waiting to kind of hear the total or kind of to the end of the year, this is an opportunity to give. But again, if you want to give a different way, or, you're making a pledge or something, to give soon, just Kimi at endtimes.com or Ketsia at endtimes.com. Let them know. They'll let us know. And that way we can go ahead and add that to the total that we're waiting on.
That's great. I had a short conversation with a man by the name of Jonathan Miller recently. He is the CFO of American Friends of Magen David Adom, and we talked about some of the importance of giving to Magen David Adom and the tax benefits. Because he's a chief financial officer, he was able to give some insight into reasons to give and the benefits of giving before the year comes to a close. So let's take just a minute and listen to what he had to say. Jonathan, thank you very much for getting together to do this. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you. We've not met before. I know you're with Magen David Adom, and you are an expert in finance. Take a minute before we start to tell us who you are.
Sure. My name is Jonathan Miller. I am the CFO, actually, of the American Friends of Magen David Adom, which is the fundraising arm for it's a 501c3 in the United States that garners support for Magen David Adom in Israel, which is Israel's only national emergency response center.
So if anybody knows their stuff about year-end giving, I think it's probably you. In general, what are some of the likely tax benefits for donors giving at the end of the year? And why should they consider giving to Magen David Adom, providing ambulances, personnel, and medical supplies?
But in terms of why they should give to Magen David Adom is because the Israel government doesn't support everything that Magen David Adom supplies. For example, our American friends at Magen David Adom is responsible for 80% of the charitable giving that MADA or Magen David Adom receives.
Wow.
And the support that we give primarily goes to ambulances, equipment, well-needed equipment that the government does not fund, and significant training opportunities.
Take just a minute before we wrap this up and talk to us about the need for ambulances and personnel and medical supplies in Israel.
Well, as I had mentioned before, the Israeli government does not pay for a lot of these things, and for whatever reason, this organization has been around for over a century, and it's really imperative. And we saw it during our post-October 7th, and the need for the emergency supplies, both for ambulances and for supplies. And it's unfortunately just based on the state of the times that we're in, the need for that. As we've sort of evolved in the world now, there's consistent more threats on the Israeli people. And even though there seems to be a peace right now, but we don't know what's coming in the future. What we're really trying to do is to prevent or sort of prepare, really by preparedness for future events, because we do believe at some point it's really imperative for the state of Israel to be prepared for what they don't know yet is coming. So we need all the support that we can get for both the ambulances and equipment in order to make this very meaningful organization continue to thrive in this environment.
What is the general response by Israelis who are receiving tangible help during this time?
Complete appreciation. And this organization, just as a reminder, comprised the people who work for it. There's about 33,000 volunteers, about 33,000 employees. It's made up of Arabs, Jews, Christians, and Druze. So it's not just serving the Jewish population.
Right.
It's serving all people within the state of Israel. And people understand what Magen David represents. It's really the heart and soul of the country. And it's they're there very quickly. And people, the fact that so many people are willing to volunteer their time, it's sort of almost like a rite of passage for a lot of people to sort of serve as volunteers in high school. And all the senior leadership were also paramedics. So it's really providing a service that sometimes in the United States we don't understand in terms of the kind of service that particularly emergency are giving, because so much of it is volunteer.
It's different, too, in Israel than it is in the U.S., because in Israel, there's only one official ambulance service, right? There's not
one official one. There are some other ones, but we're the largest, and we're all over the country, and we cater to every single situation that we receive.
That's very, very helpful. Is there anything you'd like to add that we've not talked about?
I just want, just to reiterate to whoever the listeners of this, how important this organization is to the lifeblood of the state of Israel. And any contribution, and if you could think about, as you're giving your year-end planning for your charitable donations, you should think about us as part of your year-end giving and your charitable donations. Because if you want a healthy Israel to survive, an organization like Magen David, this is really the lifeblood of the state of Israel, that people understand that. And particularly the ambulances and the equipment really need up-to-date and the latest technology in order to function properly.
This is great. Thank you, Jonathan. The information is very, very helpful.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for your time, and Merry Christmas to all your listeners.
And Happy Hanukkah to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. That was very helpful.
Very helpful. What a great group of people. What a great cause. And you have an article. You sent me an article this morning that on what they're doing right now. All over the nation of Israel, in many different areas, not just hospitals and ambulances, but all over the nation of Israel. What a fantastic cause to support. And you're talking about, blessings. Obviously when you bless Israel, you get blessed. Yeah. And what we do here at endtimes.com is specific to the Jewish people. And there's some Christians that get ministered to, and some, Arabs and others, but specifically because Magen David Adom, they help everybody. but obviously mostly Jewish, and a fantastic group of people there. So you're blessing the Jewish people. You're blessing people with, Matthew 25, where Jesus talked about the parable of the sheep and the goats. And that's all a parable about Jewish people. When you didn't do it to the least of these, my brethren, you didn't do it to me. When you did do it to the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. Well, what Jesus is saying there is he personally identifies with every Jew.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with a Jew, you're dealing with Jesus Christ. That's what he's saying. And so when we do this for them, we're doing this for Jesus. We literally. And so Jesus takes it personally, how we treat the Jewish people. They're special by covenant. And so, it's a win-win deal for everyone. But I want to say thank you to everybody. We have $405,000 that's already come in, more coming in every day. Thank you so much to those of you who have given. It's just such a big deal. And for those of you who continue to give, till the end of the year, everything that comes in, half will go to Tipping Point, half goes to McGinn DeVita Dome. But I had lunch with the international president, the national president, and the local director of McGinn DeVita Dome. These are wonderful, wonderful people. And the money goes exactly where they say it's going to go. They're very integrous in everything they do. And so please consider, if you haven't already, help us. Just go to endtimes.com, click on donate there, give your very best gift, and we'll add it to the total. And we're going to give a check very soon to McGinn DeVita Dome.
Excellent. Well, let's pray we have a good new year. Israel is facing some troubling things even as you and I speak. I received a text only a few minutes before we started talking suggesting that I keep a bag packed in case I need to go and visit a friend, be with a friend in case something breaks out even tonight between Israel and Iran. You might have seen, now I don't know how, this came from a very close friend, so I don't know how much information is behind that, but we did see Trump completely endorse Israel doing whatever it has to do to prevent Iran from launching an attack against Israel. And while they may not yet, and probably don't yet, have nuclear weapons, there have been reports coming out that they are developing chemical and biological warheads, or these intercontinental ballistic missiles, which they are developing by the thousands. So they are rearming quickly now with getting the missiles back, and it cannot go forward. And of course, at the same time, there are all these protests that erupted just the day before on the streets of Tehran. And it came from the merchants in what's called the bazaar, where they sell, like a market area of Tehran. And there is talk that perhaps this might lead to an overthrow of the government. So I think we could certainly pray to that end, and that would be a good thing. But even then, a cornered government might decide to do something as a last act of desperation. So yes, both. Yes, because these protesters could be persecuted very, very severely. And yes, it's a delicate situation, as always here. So, yeah, it's not easy. And if that happens, just as it did back in April when Iran launched missiles against Israel, McGinn DeVita Dome was there. They were going to the places that were struck by these missiles. They went to residences that were hit. They rescued people from the rubble. They went to a hospital in Bet Shemesh that was hit. And they run right into the heart of an attack. And by the way, this last week, in fact, there was a terror attack in Bet Shean, which is a city only about 20 miles south of the Sea of Galilee and very, very close to the Lebanon border. No, excuse me, to the Jordan border. What happened is a terrorist had gone over the fence and come in and stabbed and killed an Israeli civilian, and wounded another. And so Magen David Adom was there. And then another really interesting thing in terms of Bible prophecy is that they recently, just in the last week, did an exercise in preparation for a major earthquake in Israel.
Wow.
And you know better than I the prophecy dealing with an earthquake that will strike the city.
There are several major earthquakes prophesied between now and the second coming.
Yeah. So they're preparing for it. There's a major fault line that runs right down Israel, right through the middle of the Dead Sea, and we have minor earthquakes here all the time. Usually I don't feel them, but sometimes there are. You get a real vibration. You go, what was that?
Yeah.
And this is new to me because I had never lived in an area with earthquakes before. But yes, we do have a major fault lines here. So,
well, everybody needs to be praying for you. You're such a blessing, Brian. What you do for all of our Tipping Point audience and subscribers is fantastic. It's just a blessing. I remember before we had you, I was always thinking we need a correspondent on the ground in Israel, and you've been such a huge blessing. So thank you for all that you do. But we need to be praying for Israel for this next year. And it'll be exciting to be able to deliver that check to Magen David Adom. And they're going to do a big ceremony for this ambulance. And they're naming this ambulance after the Tipping Point prophecy subscribers.
Right.
And so it's going to be a big deal. So you're going to be there when they do that. That'll be exciting.
Well, hopefully you can come too. That would be nice. Let's see if you can.
I hope I can.
I hope you can too. That would be awesome. I really hope you can.
That would be awesome. Thank you. We'll sure pray about that.
All right.
Okay, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. God bless.
God bless.
New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Bye.